Austin. How'd you find getting here, first of all?
I got here perfectly fine.
Oh, good.
I Google mapped it.
Oh, good. Google Maps.
I found this place perfectly fine. Your office was a little hard to find.
Yes, it's kind of in the corner. I know. It just
but I
struggles with a social worker.
I asked for assistance, so
I'm glad you did that.
It really wasn't an issue at all.
Good. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you're here and that you found it. So kind of tell me what's been on your mind, what's been going on lately.
So, my husband, he's a dear man. We got married very young. I was 22 and he was 24. He's 2 years older than me. And I think I was just kind of getting my life started, and we'd been dating off and on since high school. So he's kind of my high school sweetheart in a way. And so whenever we got out of college, like, I couldn't really see myself without him. And he, was saying the same things to me. So we got married pretty much right out of college, started having kids 3 years later when I was 25. So, for a long time, like, I couldn't see myself without him. And I think as we've grown up, we've kind of grown apart. Like I said, I had my kid when I was 25, so I've got a 24-year-old, and I've got a 22-year-old, and then a 19-year-old who just left the house last year for college. And so now that I'm done raising kids, I feel like our marriage is kind of splitting at the seams, because we don't really have any mutual ground anymore. Like, before we had our children, and obviously they're still a big part of our life. They're just not at home anymore. I don't have anything to put all of my energy into, because I don't work. He takes care of me financially, which I very much respect. It's just we've been having a lot of fights lately. We haven't been getting along. There's really, just thinking about it, there's been nothing that I really find that we have in common. And so I think what I want to try and do is a separation, and I haven't really, we've talked about our problems. I've never really addressed wanting a separation from him with him yet. And the main reason is just because we're Catholic. And I am so afraid, I think, of, how the church would view me. And I know within myself, like, that maybe I shouldn't be having these feelings, or that maybe they're wrong and that I should just stick it out. But at the same time, I'm unhappy, and I don't think that he's very happy with me. I'm just very afraid, because we were both raised very religiously, and so I don't really know how to go about talking to him about this, or whether he'd even be on board with it or not, whether he's, like, content living in misery.
Oh gosh.
Not misery. He's a very great man. I respect him a lot, but I just think that
you don't feel the connection that y'all once felt. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly it. Just after 25 years, I just think that we've gone in different ways instead of going together. So I don't know how to go about it. I think that's why I'm here, just for advice on how to go about it, and also just like with my religion.
How to navigate that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a very, it's quite a dilemma you have. I mean, it's like it sounds like one part of you, knows what's best for you, and, in terms of the marriage, and then the other part of you, which I think is very valid, is considering, your religious beliefs. I mean, those are also a part of you. And so on both, I can see how those maybe feel like they're conflicting a little bit, right? I mean, so I guess if you wouldn't mind kind of elaborating what exactly about your church or your Catholicism that, because I'm not really very familiar with that, but what is it that you are most afraid of in maybe in potentially separating from your husband?
I mean, with the church, it's just very taboo to get divorced. You have to get an annulment, and then if you get a divorce without the church's approval, yeah, then you're no longer recognized by the Catholic Church. You're kind of excommunicated. So that's my main fear with the church. And then also just like, I don't think my children really realize the extent to which, because we do a very good job of masking it when they're around. And I think to them, I think they know that we aren't, the same way we were when they were children, but I don't think that they realize that it's gotten to this extent because, whenever they're around, I think we both enjoy our children and love their company, and
they kind of bring y'all together, maybe.
Exactly. They kind of become our common interest, so we don't really have as many problems when they're not around. But after the first two left, and there was just the 19-year-old Robert left, he, I think he sensed a little more tension than the two older ones, just because he was the only one there, less people to take up our attention. So, but with the church, that's my main concern, is just this thing that's been part of me for my whole life, like this religion that's, guided me throughout my whole life. Like, I'm just afraid that I will no longer be able to be
participate
within the church, and that they will look down on me for my choice.
Right. Do you have friends, that people you consider friends within the church you attend?
I definitely do have friends. A lot of my friends are within the church, and I haven't told any of them because all of them seem happy within their marriages. Right. And I guess it's like a double-edged sword, because I think that all of them seem happy with their marriages, but I think they think I'm really happy in my marriage, so I'm sure if I did address it with one of them, that they might be willing to talk to me about it, but at the same time I also have that fear that, like, what if their marriage really is great, and they don't know what I'm talking from, and they think that I'm awful for even, like, suggesting this in the first place, because it is so taboo.
And that would be a risk that you would have to take in those friendships.
And that's what I'm saying, it's so much easier for me to come talk to you.
Right, exactly. I'm glad you're here. But I guess I'm just trying to kind of get a scope of, the backlash perhaps that you might feel from doing this separation.
The other thing is, I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, please go ahead.
I was gonna say the other thing is, like I told you, like, we've been together since high school, on and off. We went to different colleges, and then he was 2 years older, so, once he got out, he moved back to our hometown. But it's just, I don't really know life without him, and I'm afraid, and the reason I want to do the separation more than just, like, jump into divorce and say, no, it's completely over, is because what if this separation really does do a good thing for our marriage and says, like, no, y'all should be together, and, like, here it is, but at the same time, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm also afraid to be without him, especially because you've
been together for over half your life, And do you think that maybe I think you're very, I don't know, I do applaud your decision to maybe go from, not go straight into divorce, but kind of separate a little bit, because, from what I've heard you say is you've maybe felt like he's been a part of your entire adult life, you would maybe say. And I think, and even into your, adolescence, and since y'all have been dating on and off. And so I would say maybe this separation may be good for the two of y'all to maybe grow, and you learn something maybe about yourself as an individual, and he maybe learns stuff about himself as an individual, and then you can kind of go from there. Is that what you're kind of intending to do with this separation?
It is. I mean, that sounds exactly like what I want. And at the end of it, like, I'm really hoping that we can be together and that we do find things. Because I do still love him, and like I've said, he's a great person. It's just like, I don't know if I'm in love with him anymore, just because so much has happened, and raising kids can be really hard. I'm just very afraid about my outward appearance to the church, and I don't know how to go around that.
I mean, I think that is like a very tough, like I said earlier, a hard dilemma. but I think, you know, it comes down to, you know, what, you know, you value more is, you know, is it, you know, being able to be happy in your relationships, you know, with your husband and your kids, or is it, you know, this relationship? And we can talk obviously a lot more about, you know, what that looks like, and, you know, could you are there other, I guess something that I've been wondering is there maybe some other church or congregation, is that a congregation that may be a little bit more accepting of this, that you would feel comfortable in, or is that really not an option for you?
I think with the new Pope, there's definitely been some, like, he's definitely opened a lot of eyes to,
Right.
like the traditional Catholic views, so I don't think it would be as taboo as it would have been 10 years ago. But at the same time, like, I could go to, you know, a Presbyterian or Baptist or Methodist church, but that's not, you know,
Right,
like, that's
you
not
were
what
not
I've
raised in.
That's not what I was raised in, and so I don't know. I really want to remain a part of my church. I just don't really want that.
Like, kind of, does
That
it feel like
pressure.
guilt, or
Yeah.
what was that kind of feeling?
It is guilt. It definitely is. Not only to God, but, you know,
To people around you.
to my friends and family, and everyone. And I feel guilty in a way to ask my husband for it, because I don't know if that's exactly what he wants.
Right. I think that's a key piece that maybe I haven't looked into quite yet. But so you haven't brought it up to your husband or your children? Have you?
No.
So you all haven't had that conversation?
No, I think that we've both been very distant, and it's both.
But maybe kind of an elephant in the room type of deal.
It's never been brought up that
Right.
this is what I want. We fight a lot more than we used to, and we've both noted that we're growing apart, but I've never said to him, like, maybe we should try this, or maybe we should go to therapy. It's always been like a me thing, because I am home and he is at work.
Right.
So I have time during the day, and he's kind of just like, I think he kind of writes it off, like, Kristen, whatever, go do what you're gonna do, you know.
Right,
And that's also, like, an upsetting thing, because it's like, this is something I want us to do, but I don't think he's gonna take me seriously until I say, like, hey, I wanna do this separation, but at the same time, I don't want the church to look down on me.
Right.
So.
And so those are I think those are very hard, you know, things to keep talking through, and I mean, we're almost out of time, unfortunately, but I do think that those are two things that we can talk more about, you know. And I know that I feel a little bit inadequate. I will do some more research into Catholicism and your belief system, and so I can really get a gauge on that. I mean, you've enlightened me a lot about that, but I'll make sure to get more info and see if we can maybe find, you know, not a loophole, but, you know, somewhere where we can make sure you feel like you fit inside your, you know, because that's an important aspect. And then I do think that maybe we can talk about options with how to bring up that conversation with your husband, and you know, in a way that he will receive it well. So we will keep talking about that for sure. But is there anything else, kind of with our last minutes here?
No, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for meeting with me. I think we've made some progress.
Yeah, just letting it out feels good.
Right.
So thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.